Hey, and welcome back to the Ziggy Zone. Today we're going to talk about a hybrid issue where it's about sports, but it also I think it's about a larger social issue. It comes out of the sports world, but I think that it definitely has a huge social context to it. And this post really is for you all to talk amongst yourselves in your social circles, and actually talk back to me. Let me know what your thoughts are about this subject matter. And it's really about athletes and their salaries. Granted, they've earned their money, so we're not talking about, whether or not people deserve money. That's ridiculous. But really, so, right, a few years ago, ESPN did their 30 for 30 going broke. And for some reason, I think that people don't think that that can happen or that it's like a joke. Either way, I first got this idea this week when Josh Smith, who is now with the Los Angeles Clippers, he made a point to say that he doesn't know how he's going to care for his family because his contract for this coming year is worth $1.6 million or something like that. And he still owed $4 or $5 million from Detroit for this year, so that puts him around the $5 million mark. And Josh Smith isn't a scrub. He was with Atlanta Hawks for a long time and made his money there. Just recently he's sort of been bouncing around, being traded up with Detroit, then being released from Detroit, and then picked up with Houston, and now finally landing, albeit close to the league minimum, with the Clippers. But the comment really resonated with me of not knowing, or sort of some uncertainty of taking care of one's family. And if you've made a couple $1,000,000 in your lifetime, if you've made a couple $1,000,000 within a 10-year period, it would behoove you to invest your money wisely, because I don't think that having made a couple million, I think he's made 90 million, 80 million, even if a cool few million went to taxes and things like that, I still feel like there's a few million left to invest. But I'm not in his wallet. I'm not Capital One. But then it reminds me of when Latrell Sprewell, he turned down a $20-30 million contract or something like that. When he was with the Timberwolves, he turned down a contract saying, "Oh, I have a family to feed," and we haven't heard from him since. I think that players, don't get me wrong, you work hard, you earn your money, fine, but I don't think that I don't think it's cool to throw these little pity parties about yourself about needing to feed the masses. The average American hasn't signed a multi-million-dollar contract. And granted, that's your life and that's your world and you've worked for that, but you are an American and do like the rest of us, budget your money. I'm sorry. You cannot take the whole hood with you. Sorry, I understand that you feel a sense of loyalty, but those people, what Kobe say when his wife was trying to divorce him, or the joke, or whoever said it, I don't know if Kobe said it or whoever said it, you're not in the gym shooting with me. I'm so very sorry. And it's actually really unfortunate, because especially for those athletes who come from challenging backgrounds where they have this burden where they need to take care of everyone, and that if they don't, they'll feel alienated. And I think that's the bigger issue, right? The bigger issue is these athletes, these young men, right? Because they're going from high school to college, or they don't do straight to pros anymore, at least for basketball. So you talk about maybe 1 or 2 years. So you talk about a 21-year-old guy feeling like he has the weight of the world on his shoulders. Then he takes care of his mama, his grandmama, all of his cousins and aunts and uncles that came out of West Bubblefuck. That's not okay. And then the homies from the hood, like, it's unfair. And I think that more support needs to go to these young guys, and that they actually need to feel empowered with saying no. Like, I get it. Like, you want to ball out and, like, you want to have fun. Like, that's one thing, right? So if you really want to just ball out, and okay, you do got the $1 million contract. So, of course, you can afford it, but they can't. Either, or they can't afford it at that level. Okay, well, it's nothing with saying, all right, we about to go to Vegas and go hard, but y'all gotta buy your own plane tickets. Like, I don't, like, you have to hold people responsible in some way, right? So, great, you go to the club and you pay for the bottles. Fine, it's in Vegas. Honestly, I've done this a time or two. Bottles is not that expensive in Vegas. Sorry, it's just not. Now, if you're gonna go, like, for a major weekend, perhaps, yes, I definitely know if Mayweather's fighting, bottles, like, the little end table is like 1,500. Totally get it, understand it. But if you just going to Vegas on a hype on a weekend, you know what I'm saying? You're not okay. So $800 a bottle, like, okay. So regardless, you're the athlete. You pay for the bottles. Heck, even pay for the hotel, right? Y'all get a suite and do what you do in the suite. I feel like at some point, the people in your entourage, your posse, your family, whomever, they should want to pay for something. I'm sorry. Like, if you are from, like, Alabama, if y'all don't go and find a plane ticket, a Southwest plane ticket, JetBlue probably don't fly there, and I know dang sure. If you come from Texas, you can take Virgin. I got off topic, but I really say that to say that these athletes, like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to take care of the whole world. Like, it's your money, and you have the right to do with it what you want. Now, if you so choose to blow your money to buy items that depreciate in value as soon as you purchase them, then that's on you. But you can't expect to be high and mighty and on this career and ride this wave for 20, 30 years. Sorry. Like, that's not the average length of a career. Like, the fact that players like Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett is still in the league is, like, amazing, because they've been in the, well, especially Kevin Garnett. You're talking about what? Him and Kobe, what? Like, almost 20 years or something like that? Like, that's very rare. And I get Josh Smith has been in the league for what, 13, 14 years now going on? Like, that's still very rare. And I think that for someone to make a comment such as Josh Smith, to say he has to feed his family, or he has to figure out how he's going to take care of his family, that to me sort of indicates that, oh, perhaps you've been irresponsible with your money. Like, if you've grossed, right, 90 million. You know what? I'll give him credit and say 75 million. If you've made $75 million in the period of your career, like, unless you're on crack or other drugs, I don't understand why you don't have money. I don't. I really don't. I mean, your money is your responsibility. And if you had grossed 75 million in the last, 13, 14 years, at some point, I mean, must be due to poor money management. I think, and football players, if we're talking about basketball players, and football players really need to be modest, because they don't have guaranteed contracts. Like, they don't have, I think it was not guaranteed contracts. So at any point, you could lose the money that you thought you was going to get. That's why they are always so, like the NFLPA, that's why they're always like, oh, we want 50% guaranteed, because the contracts aren't guaranteed. You can get cut. Anything can happen in the NFL. In basketball, okay, you have guaranteed, money for the most part, so that's good. But really, what service are you doing your family and yourself and your children, showing your children how to, manage money when you're quote unquote struggling? You know what I mean? Like, I get it, guys. You guys want, like, the baddest chick on your arm and all of that stuff. But, like, shopping sprees and all that stuff, Like, you should want a woman that's like, that's future building, right? Your woman should not be like all about how to spend your money and how to spend your money quick. She should be like, oh, it's great that you want to take me shopping, but I feel like with my closet, I have everything I need. Let's invest this money somewhere so that when you retire, we're not on 30 for 30 going broke too. You know what I mean? Like two, like not two, like as in also, but two as in the second time ESPN decides to do a cover a 30 for 30 going broke. Because that's where a lot of people are going. It's like, you don't have money, but you've made millions and millions of dollars. And there are people who make like a tenth of that and they manage. Like, you don't have to make millions and millions of dollars to own multiple properties. You don't have to make millions and millions of dollars to drive expensive foreign cars. Like, I know people who are regular people who go to regular jobs and have properties and cars. So, like, the fact that you have millions of dollars and access to resources says to me that you're not managing your money, or two, that you're living outside of the means. And I know, and might hurt some feelings or whatever, but last year, Donald Sterling, he, had his controversy. And then actually the TV show, The Game, right? They basically did the same thing. Like, that was a storyline about the owner, like, oh, you guys are slaves or whatever. And I don't agree with that aspect of it, obviously. But the thing is that you're an employee. So when you are an athlete and you play for a professional team, you do not own the team. The owner owns the team. And so the owner is getting a bigger check than you. You can't be an employee with beer budget, beer taste with champagne budget. Like, you can't have owner taste with an employee budget. Now, granted, all y'all making a lot of money considering, but the fact of the matter is, most owners are billionaires. Most owners have that old money, and old money is that good money. Because that's that money that people ain't letting go. That's that money that you're only spending the interest on. It's like, oh, we got our interest check. Let's go invest that. Or, oh, our interest check came. I guess we can, go on vacation. Like, the new money, like, you take your new money now and you invest it and you make smart moves so that in 30, 40, 50 years, your kids and your kids, your current new money can then be old money. Like, you don't try to live like the owners. Like, however they acquired their wealth is fine. However you acquired yours is fine. But you can't. Yes, you can. I can't say you can't. It's just, it's not a good look to sit around here acting like you don't have no money or that you're having a hard time. Like, you're an American. Do like the rest of us. Budget your money. Tell people no. Make better financial decisions. It's something that we all do. And I get signing $1 million contracts at a young age is very enticing. It's like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Like, I can't front. If I was like 20 years old signing a multi-million-dollar contract, Lord knows where I would be. However, I know to save money and put money up. Because especially, and I don't think this is in Josh Smith's case, I'm not sure, but for athletes who, like I said, those rags to riches stories, where I've seen in a lot of documentaries and other documentaries, they spruce it up. They not spruce it up, but they make it look even worse than what it is. But like, where people be coming from like these old backwoods podunk towns, no offense to the South, my family's there. That's not where I grew up. I'm like, why would you ever want to risk the opportunity of going back there? Like, now granted, if you want to live in the South, great. Albeit, big ups. Build your house, buy land, build your house, and start putting money to that. But if you're a person who's like, oh, I wanted to escape this life because it was so horrible, it was so terrible, why do things that will set you up to go right back to where you came from, where you felt hopeless, as if you didn't play basketball or play football or play whatever sport, that there was going to be no hope for you. I mean, so like I said, it's on both ends, right? So on one end, it's the social aspect where I think, especially athletes of color, where they're bred to think that their sport is their ticket out, right? And all these people pour money and time and energy into you. And so you feel this extra weight where you have to be successful and that you have to make it. Which is unfortunate, right? Because it puts a lot of pressure on a child. And then on the other end is the responsibility of self, saying, okay, well, while I'm here, let me make the best decisions for me, and saying, yes, everyone, I appreciate what you've done to help me get to this platform in life. I can't be responsible to carry you along. You know what I mean? Like, of course, the people who are with you are the people who are with you forever. But Drake said no new friends. Definitely bad example, because he always got a new friend. But the song, like literally, like you can't keep picking up people along the way, because the second that you don't have it for people, like who's going to be there? Like you hope and pray that the people, that was closest to you, and they should be, but all those new people that you keep acquiring, those people are not the people that you want to pay for and spend your money on and take trips, across the world with. I mean, now if they're paying for themselves, then fine, but if they're expecting you to, fork up the bill, then that's an issue. Like, truth be told, if y'all going out to dinner, even if you are the one with money, like, people should, maybe they can't afford the lavish meal, right? They can't afford to pay the whole bill, right? But they should offer to pay for their meal, right? Pay the tax, something. Not the tax, the tip, something. I just think that when it comes to financial awareness and responsibility, athletes, especially those of color, need to be more astute and take ownership in that, and not feel, especially when they're younger, and not feel a sense of like loyalty or that they have to do something, because it's not fair. You've worked hard, you've earned it, and so you have the right to put your money where and give your money to whomever you want. So like I said before, this has been my brief take, and by brief I mean 18 minutes. But I would love to see what you have to say around the topic of athletes and their financial awareness. So until next time, ciao.